Hello, everyone. Can you see me? Is my mic working? Yeah. If you can leave me a comment and say it's working, then I can start this. We're just gonna give maybe 2 more minutes for more people to join. Then I will answer your questions. I already have one question here for the open call. And I think I'm just waiting for. Hey, Sandra. Glad you are here. Are you excited for this open call? Wait, I see there's some Give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. There's something. Okay, yes, this is much better. Okay, good. So we're just gonna wait for 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna start talking about the Adidas Gucci collaboration open call. I actually did a little session with the Patreon members on Sunday, and it looks like there is a common question from both Patreon and the non-Patreon group, which I will answer it right away before we get going. But if you guys have any questions, you guys should ask me. Funny thing, I already got one submission, but I actually rejected it because not reading the instructions. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys to actually read the instructions. Especially this time, the instruction is not really created by me. It's from Gucci. So you have to treat this open call as a resume to the company. Like we give you the exact outline, we give you a specific outline we want you to create. So if you decide to create outside of the brief, most likely you will get rejected this time. And instead of doing a top 9, we only do top 3. So the challenge is actually higher than before because I probably only control 30. I don't know how big the team is going to look at all the submissions, but I would say I don't think I have more than 50% of the power to say who are my favorites. So this time you have to cater the brand. One tip for you is to actually look at the brand Instagram account, look at the aesthetic, and think about what to create, how to appeal, how to make them feel like, wow, this is exactly what we want to use for a campaign. So, just to answer the first question here, if doors in a row, you are here, this is your question. If we are drawing a sport equipment item that isn't a real product, are we allowed to use the logos on the item? Try to stay away. Okay, so first of all, because we are doing this with Gucci, you can absolutely use the logos. But if Gucci hasn't really create a basketball or like a soccer ball, try to stay away from adding that logo to the equipment or like the products. Uh, but you know that Adidas has probably create basketballs, all those like products. So if you want to use that as props, go for it. But I encourage you not to actually create any new products for this particular open call. Stick with the lookbook images. Um, Top tip: in that page, I gave you 2 links. One is the lookbook photos. One is a product page, which shows you the entire collection. Do not, do not, do not go to the runway collection and look for images and draw. Some of the looks that you saw on the runway are actually not in productions, and this time we are focusing on releasing products. So if you somehow create an illustration based on the runway look, automatically rejected. So this is the most important part you need to like keep in mind. And also, if you are doing the lookbook, like do not copy the lookbook image because right now, again, this is a test. This is a resume for you to show what you can do for the brand. So you have to be creative. You have to find something else. You have to create an editorial or think of it think of it as an ad campaign that can actually show the aesthetic of the brand and the collection. So let me see what are we able to add text on the illustration? Yes, you can. Just make it fun. As you can see, the lookbook there is a really like fun, colorful, cheerful, vintage vibe. So stick with that. Think about all I can say is think about the 70s, think about the 80s, and think about how you should go maybe if you decide to do a workout illustration or maybe a small animation, you can think about going to YouTube and search for those really fun 70s and 80s like fitness video. Um, because again, the brief is this collection is supposed to be really sporty, should be super fun. So the team really wants you to think outside the box, like do something fun, like maybe do a really interesting pose, or if you think about, I guess dancing should be part like as a sport as well. So if you think about disco, dressing up in that collection, that is fine as well. But make it like really glittery, I guess, because like if you look at the Gucci Instagram account, it has this vintage, really glittery, really old school vibe. So think about that. Um, okay, so what else? Wait, there were. Oh yeah, there was a runway like the fall and winter 2022 runway show was basically announcing the Adidas and Gucci collaboration. But again, as you can see on the product page and the runway show, some of the looks on the runway are not in production. So we absolutely have to eliminate that. Like that is not going to be part of our brief. So, what other questions you have? Because the more questions you ask me, the better chance that you will not make a mistake. And everyone has only one chance to enter. If I tell you that not you're rejected, I won't accept any more redo. So think about what questions you have so far. While I wait for you guys to talk about, like, think about what question to ask me, I will just briefly go over the McQueen open call. So right now, the Patreon members are voting for the Patreon winner. I have the top three. I actually don't have the top nine. I'm still looking at the top nine. I have a folder with 12 final illustrations, but I don't know which six will actually join that top three. Um, this open call, I actually okay. So first of all, I love it because you guys actually follow the instructions. There are not a lot of runway illustrations because I actually rejected them and delete them right away. So if you didn't get a confirmation, there's a reason why. And on the other hand, we actually this is probably the least submissions I have ever received from an open call. Um, this is really funny because this based on the votes. This is the number one collection everyone wants to draw, and afterwards, I only received no more than 60 illustrations. So there is actually a little gap there. I'm not too sure. Maybe you guys are just busy, so we will try to do it again later. Like I will do another questionnaire on Instagram stories and ask you about the favorite fall and winter 2022 collection. Uh hope that if we hope that next time when I have your number one favorite as the topic, I hope that I will see more interesting submissions or more submissions from you guys. But again, at this moment, I'm really looking for the quality over the quantity. So quality wise, this is A plus plus. Um, how about multiple submissions? No, there is only for this Adidas Gucci submission, you can only do one submission. So make sure that you create the best work. And also, I know you guys are always about the deadline. So I want to make sure that you know that you should actually circle that down. The deadline is June 3rd. The deadline is not June 5th. It's not a Sunday. It's a Friday. So make sure that before before 11:59 p.m. EST on Friday, you send your submission over because anything you send on the 4th and 5th will not be considered because during that weekend, we have to figure out the top threes because on Tuesday is where we're going to release the top three illustrations and it's the 7th. And this is the day that the collection launch and everyone on that day should upload the illustrations on the Instagram account or social media. Whatever you use. If you use TikTok, that's fine as well. So any questions here? Please let me know. Or any fashion illustration questions. I remember when I did an IG story, there were quite a number of people want to ask me questions, but then those people didn't show up asking me questions when I have the Q&A box there. Do you guys have anything you want to talk to me? I am just waiting. I'm also checking if you can type anything here. You can also DM me on Instagram because I'm checking that as well. Is mixed media a good technique for fashion illustration? That really depends on how you do it. Just remember that when you actually do mixed media, you have to find a really good scanner to scan the image. If you're working with a brand and you just show an iPhone photo, I'm pretty sure they will reject your project. So if you do that, make sure that is super professional and it looks good on Instagram because I have seen a lot of people using doing mixed media and they just take a photo and it doesn't translate at all. Just because they haven't really used Photoshop to add the illustrations and it turned out to be pretty bad. Um, do they want us to draw a lot or few looks? It okay. So back to that Adidas Gucci open call. You can draw as many looks as you want. There is no restrictions. Men and women you can do if you want to because if you look at Gucci's aesthetic, it's pretty gender fluid. So you can use your imagination to create whatever models you want. It's really up to you. Uh, June is Pride Month. You can probably incorporate that as well if you want to think about pride and sports. It might be a really good thing to do it. Um, but there is no restriction. And I will just say use your style, do a lot of research, look into the product page, pick out the thing that pick out the products that you like. You don't necessarily need to say, "Oh, I have to create a figure that dress exactly like that lookbook model." No, You- Gucci. The best part about Gucci right now is you mix and match. you can clash with clothing, you can clash with colors. uh, it's just think about fun, think about again vintage, and I will emphasize this again: 70s, 70s, 80s. If you look at the lookbook photo, it's really about that era. So let me just say, if you have no idea like what to create, just think about something like that. Like she's holding a bag, and then the other is holding like a little weight. We know that she's about to go to gym and do workout. So think about that. Like, don't, how should I say? Don't if I know some people actually message me like in the Patreon and ask like, can I do a more than like 2000? It's fine, but then you really have to find a way to add that vintage touch to that illustration, because if you don't give me that vintage touch, that is not going to be part of the collection. um let's just say, like, if you look at this image, that is really like a vintage poster. So yes, which you can do. You can actually try to do some research on vintage magazine ad or like vintage poster. That might actually give you a pretty good idea on what kind of illustration you should create. What's a good advice to create a fun narrative in the illustration without drawing attention away from the fashion? So, this is basically your storytelling skills. I will say, if you love this dress, if you like this outfit, what kind of character you're going to create and put that outfit on them, because that will actually create a story. Fashion is basically a prop to enhance your illustration. So don't let the fashion be the main focus, but think about the composition and the story that you want to tell, and then dress that person. But in case if you say, I really love this dress, I want to draw this dress, then you have to think about what setting will work for this dress, what kind of story you want to tell people. Um, so far, if you let's just take Gucci as an example, since we're talking about open call. If you actually scroll through the Gucci Instagram account, you probably will see some illustrations. They actually commission illustrators to do some artworks. You can see that it's really about a story. When you look at that image, you will feel, oh yeah, this girl has this story that wants to tell. Like, she loves to read, she loves she loves fashion, she loves nature. So definitely check it out. Even if they just do a handbag, you kind of see there is a story behind it. You just need to think about how you want to show to your viewers what kind of story you want them to see. So okay, now back to that open call. So we are we allowed to make a new outfit combination from the collection? Yes, you can. You can choose the outfits you like on that product page, and then create that look, but make sure that is on that page, not something that you decide to create. um Everything is on the product page. Whatever was on the product page you can use. Whatever you create is not going to be part of this open call. So we should think about how this will look on Instagram, right? So make it look good in small rectangle format. Will they look at the large original if we, let's say, make it 16 by 20? Um, this is more like for social media. Um, Again, I don't really know the surprise they are giving. So, just more focus on the social media aspect of it. I know they will probably be using that account to check out your submissions on that day. That's all I can say. But the surprise, I really don't know yet. So I can't really give you the definite answer. It could be a personal message from the creative director, it could be a product, it could be something else, it could be a show. I don't know, but I know that there is some incentive from this like from Gucci. Like it's going to make you happy. That's all I know. At the end of this, you're gonna be happy. Um, but yeah, don't need to make it 16 by 20, but make sure that illustration can fit on your social media post. So like don't send me an illustration that I need to chop off part of the head or part of the leg. This might ruin the entire post. So does that answer the question? Keep coming. I'm here to stay until probably like 3 o'clock to answer questions. We can pick any sport athletic activity. Some sports are seasonal. Is that a factor or not really? Not really a factor. So if you really want to go for ice skating, go for it, but make sure that the outfit actually works for the ice skating. If you want to dress the players in the hockey gear, like, I mean, if the hockey players need to dress in that Adidas Gucci collection, you have to think about how to make it work because I can process that in my brain. When an illustrator get an opportunity from a fashion house, do they usually tell how much they are paying the artist, or is it artists that decide the amount? Um, you can have a number in mind, but then it's also you haven't watched the video I post how to work with artists. Because one of the things I said is it will be very useful if the brand can actually tell you how much budget they have, because then you will know exactly what what to create within that budget. So I recommend you to go back to that video and then possibly like tell like when clients approach you, you know exactly how to deal with them. Um, yep. So rectangular crop ratio is 5 by 4. Yes. Um, I don't know how you're gonna like dress hockey player in that collection. It's just a little bit interesting, but figure skating, I think it's possible. Um, track and field might be a really good topic. Baseball might be fun. It looks like a lot of images in that lookbook somehow associate with tennis and golf. So those are the two things that you can also consider as well. Um, what other questions should I answer, or anything you guys want from me for Drawdot? um, like quite frankly, this I really want to make sure that you guys are participating in this open call, because if we don't have a lot of submissions, it will be really challenging to approach other brands to do this kind of stuff as well. So um, that's why I want to make sure that you guys are prepped for this open call and can meet the deadline. You have roughly 2 weeks to do it, and I know you guys have a lot of like things going on, but at the same time, this opportunity doesn't come that often. So, would really want you to not miss out this and create something that works for your portfolio and also possibly win something from the brand. How much the background and surroundings is critical in the submission? I will say if I'm looking at a campaign image, that background is important to me because I need to understand the setting. I need to understand the story. Um, Even though if you look at the campaign image right now, which I will see if I can show, like, let's just say this is a really simple, solid color because the whole setup and the whole makeup, like the setting, the hairstyle, um, does give you that 70s vibe. That colorful that colorful background is also really like trendy back in the 70s. So that already tell me that I know exactly what's going on, what era they're referring to. So if you really want to go for minimalism, go for color blocking, but make it fun. Think about a game show called The Price is Right. Like, look at that kind of aesthetic, or any 70s show. Think about that kind of like colors setup. Um, you probably want to see if you can make some really bright color as the background as well, just because in the 70s, it's kind of like fun to do that. When working with clients, do they usually expect a Q free? Yes, I know magazines automatically budget for that. Deposit. Yes, they will usually. You can request a deposit, which can be anything up to 50% deposit. Depends on the job. You sometimes that deposit is not refundable. So it really depends on the job you're doing. Yep. What other things? I want to keep going. I want you to pick my brain. And if you like this, you can if you like this video so far, give it a like as well because somehow after this live, it will be recorded. You guys can rewatch it, and then more people can watch this video, so that they know exactly what's going on with the open call. Let me see if I have any message from Instagram. Can you just repeat the name of the show, please? The Price is Right. It's like a game show. So let me show you The Price is Right. The Price is Right poster. Um, 70s. Like, think about this kind of stuff. If that if that's give you like a good tip. Um, Not saying that this is like 100% like Gucci will like again it really depends on the subject and what you're going to create, but that's the direction that you can go and look for resource, look for ideas. uh anything. We have half an hour more, so shoot me with shoot me with questions. Psychedelic could work. Yes, you can think about the psychedelic part, but again, remember that um the requirement it has to be one of the sports theme. Either it's a sports they're playing or it's a gym workout. So you have to think about how to incorporate that whole psychedelic thing into your submissions. You can even do abstract. You can even do surrealism. But then you also have to remember to put that sports concept into your artwork. Um, it's funny that no one actually asked me whether portraits or accessories like can be part of the submissions. Um, Portrait wise, if you really do it, you have to think about um, those, those group photos of a sports team. That's the approach that you should be doing. And again, you have to figure out how to incorporate some sports element into the illustration. As for accessories, if you just want to create accessories, you really have to incorporate all kinds of like tools, like a basketball or like a punching bag somewhere to make sure that we know this is a sporty vintage poster print. What if I make a poster design theme for this open call? Is it a bad idea? Absolutely not. Like, you should make a poster. Like, again, consider this as a campaign image. So you are now the creative director of this campaign, and you have to create an image to attract customers to buy this collection. What will you do? The the guideline is it has to be sporty. It has to have the 70s vintage vibe. Now, what can you create? Show it to the team. Show it to the boss, and just do your best. I hope that answered the question. This is pretty active. This chat room. I'm just waiting for more questions. 30 minutes more. Um, yeah, it's pretty nerve wracking at this moment because I also, when I look at the response from people, a lot of people say this is the opportunity they are looking forward to for a long time, because the last one we did such a huge open call was probably Versace, when they were promoting the Virtues handbag. That was a super big one. I think it's in 2019. And now we are doing this with Gucci. And again, Gucci is probably one of the biggest brand in the world right now. So for them to actually look over your works, that's a lot. The Valentino one was in 2015, and we actually did it two times, and both winners got a handbag in the end. Again, we don't really know what Gucci has for us, but the biggest thing is it's going to the headquarters, not the North America like department, not the Europe department, but the headquarters. So the main team to actually look at your submission. Yep. Um, the McQueen one, I would just say there's some really interesting ideas going on. Few of them actually blew my mind away. So I'm actually excited to show the top nine. As I said before, right now in my folder, I have top 12. I know for sure the top three. I don't really know the the top six, the other top six yet. So I'm still like looking at it, which one works best. So it's interesting, and also I can tell you that this time I will be posting more new artists' work, just because I want to give them a chance, and their concepts are pretty interesting. So it's not really, they might not necessarily have the best illustration skills, but their concept is just really cool. And I can see that they actually take time to do the research. Or I see that some artists have been working on a whole new style that I know that there's potential to it. So it's exciting to show you what the top nine are. And I'm pretty sure that on Thursday you will see most of the illustrations as well. So make sure that you go to the hashtag draw.alexandermcqueen on Thursday to see all the submissions. Okay, so what's next for the any questions? Don't be shy. Ask me. I'm here. I'm also looking at any questions you guys have on Instagram. If you can type here, because which I know some people can type here, they will DM me. So if you have any questions, you can send through to me on Instagram as well. Yep. Wow, thank you for joining me during your lunch break. And I think I just saw a message there asking me about the background. I already answered that. So um, make sure that if you're still not clear about the background thing, go back to this video later on and check it. Um, what else do I need to tell you? Uh, on Monday, yes, on Monday, I probably do a little recap if anyone uh is early and send me the submissions. I will just do a little like post on Instagram and show a sneak peek of the submissions. Um, so if you decide to finish it early, then send it. Then there's a chance for you to see your work on Draw Instagram post, Instagram feed. The only thing is I won't tag you. Just so I don't want people to know who has entered the open call yet. Yeah, biggest critic on the A. um, I would say this McQueen open call is eye opening. Um, just because back in the pre like in the last open calls or so, I don't really give you specific instructions, and this time I give you really really specific instructions. Plus I completely weed out all the runway illustrations, so I I know who is actually capable of working on the tutorials, and if you have not participated, I don't know if you're just too busy or you're not really clear about the instructions. Because this is the kind of brief I usually get from magazines. They will give you, this is the theme, this is what I want you to do, create something. So if you did not participate, make sure that you participate in this Gucci one, just because now it's the real game. This is a brief from Gucci. It's them telling you what to do. And if you do not follow instructions, that will cause you to lose the opportunity to be seen by the brand. So let me just go to Instagram and see what I have. No one has any questions on Instagram. What about you? It's for you guys. I do it for you guys. I'm glad that I actually um my allergy is getting better. Like yesterday, if I need to do this live, I probably would collapse. I had a really bad allergy. I couldn't even talk. So any other things? 20 more minutes. Or let's just say, what kind of brands do you want to see in the next open call, in the future open calls? If you have a brand that you like, oh, I really hope that you can do an open call with them, then please write down your wish list. I will I will write it down to make sure that is on my to-do list as well. Prada. Yes, I would love to work with Prada as well. That's still my goal to actually work with them. By the way, Prada actually just create a collaboration with an artist on the sneakers. If you actually go to their Prada Instagram account, you will see the sneakers. It's actually pretty interesting. But the thing is, Prada always focus on painters. They used to have like they used to hire commission an illustrator to create the collections. It was a few years ago. I think 10 years ago. And then they did it another collection 5 or 6 years ago. So so Prada is always supporting the art world. So you can probably I will if anyone here has any connection with Prada, let me know as well. I would want to work with them on a really interesting open call. Any other brands that you have in mind that will work? I I also know that some people DM me before, like privately, like talking about Scaparelli. That I'm also hoping one day I can work with them on specific open call to so that you guys will get more attention from that brand. Moschino, Moschino, yes, definitely love to. Haven't found the right contact yet, so if you have any contact, let me know, and maybe we can work on that. Because have you seen the Resort 2023 collection? They just released that on social media. It's actually a fun collection. I think it's only for men for now. Speaking of that, have you guys watched the Gucci Resort 2023? What do you guys think? I think there was just a lot of amazing looks. There are a few pieces that I actually really want to get. If a brand has been continually liking my illustration, is it worth reaching out with the portfolio? They won't really see it because someone else takes care of the Instagram. Okay, so this question, there are two parts to it. If you know that the brand is outsourced to agency to do Instagram, then you probably won't get anything from them, even if you reach out. However, if this brand has a social media team and they reach out, like you know that um, the person who is responsible for the account works for the brand, you can talk to them and see if they can connect you to the right person for collaborations. Because I know that the social media person might not have the power to create any marketing plan for the brand. So you will need to go through to the marketing person, and then the marketing person has to go to a different department to see if this is going to work out. So um, your first step is to make sure that this person works in house. Then ask them to connect you to the right person. Usually, you can also try to look on LinkedIn to look for those people if you want to. Does that answer the question? So yeah, let's go back to while we wait for more questions. What do you think about the Gucci Resort 2023? Have you watched it? Have you seen any looks you like? Um, do you like that split color outfits? I think that's one of the highlights of the show. The makeup is not the makeup, the face jewelry, the accessories are pretty interesting. I actually find I don't know if I will ever want to have those jewelry in, but that's interesting. Oh, also speaking of the Gucci, have you guys saw Brian Boy's account on Instagram and his stories where he actually flipped the watch and then someone told him that and he said, "No, this is just a bracelet." That was a really interesting that was a really fun story. If you haven't watched it, make sure that you go on Instagram and check out Brian Boy's IG account and look at the stories. So because there are also some Gucci stuff there as well. Uh any other questions? I want to make sure that you guys are all prepped for the open call. Later on, I will probably post a reel and just make sure that you look at the lookbook photos. I will give you some inspirations for the collection for the open call. So, what other things? Is any so sorry to go back to scanning photographer. There any particular things you look for in traditional media submission photos sharpness? Uh okay, here's one of the things that I am really picky. So if you are going to scan your image, I want to make sure that if that spot is white, it's white. I don't want to have any kind of brown tone to that. Uh that's one of the pet peeve. Like when I see like when I see a submissions, your illustration is perfect, yet you actually don't take time to edit that illustration. I will usually like put it on the side. It's actually really important to learn how to edit scanned image. Sometimes that white can turn into blue or turn to brown. So you need to understand the concept of cool lighting and warm lighting and how to neutralize it to make sure that you have the right white. Um, so sharpness, sure. I want to make sure that the image has like it's not blurry or I when you do a photo, let's just say some people love to do setup stage. So this is something that I will tell you right away. This is actually sort of like a rule for draw dot as well. My focus is on your illustration. So I'm not focusing on your staging. I don't care. Like I don't need to see you have pencils, you have borders, you have watercolors, palettes on on the photo. It's distracting. Usually if you send me those photos or you tag me those photos, I won't be really able to feature the illustration even though if they're really good. That's not my style. So what I would say is you probably want to do an extra work. If you do that, make sure that before you do the staging, you take a really good photo or you scan that image of the illustration and then maybe do it as a gallery post. So one you have a setup, the other one is just a plain illustration. If I really like your work, I would definitely take that illustration and post it. But you are not asking me to like, oh, I love this illustration and crop it, and or I will ask you for a clean version because that's not me. Like I won't, as you know, when you whenever I post illustrations, I won't let you know like who I whom I'm posting for the day. So I don't want to like make you feel like, wow, okay, now whenever you ask me for a clean illustration, that means that I am going to be featured. I don't want that. So from now on, make sure that if you want to have a chance to be featured on Instagram, you scan that image. You don't do any of the staging, like for that particular like uh slide. I don't care if you the first slide, the third slide have like that staging. That's fine. Um, I haven't seen the new Gucci collection, but I love anything that has to do with stars and space. Can't wait to catch up. The star and space, it's only really the last dress. Like you will see all the stars. That is really, really cool. But I feel like when I look at this collection, it's more about uh, different alien, different like every look is from a different planet. I think that's a really, really interesting thing. And I was joking that I was telling my friend there's one accessory I really like. It's like a strawberry fanny pack. I don't know why I was like, this is so cool. I want to have it. It's like a strawberry shape. It's so random. But this is why there are times that I like Gucci is because it's a randomness that makes you feel like, wow, this is so cool. Okay, so very helpful point regarding the white balance. You're welcome, Anna. I think, yeah, I think that's the most important part when you're doing traditional media and when you actually scan it and like take photos. Um, I mean, you can do staging because staging is really for your staging is for your Instagram aesthetic. It's for your personal account. But when it comes to my draw dot account, I'm really focusing on the artwork. I want to give the full attention. I want the readers, like the viewers, to actually have the full attention on the artwork instead of your staging skills because that's not what I do. Like I could I could easily start a Instagram account called the best staging of Instagram. And then I can post all the stage like photos for people to get inspired. But no, Draw Dot is it's an account that I post fashion illustrations that will inspire the other artists and inspire the community to create more interesting things. So just keep in mind this is sort of like a house rule for the draw dot community. I hope I'm not being mean here. Any other questions? Anything related to the open call, to your fashion illustration career path? Anything? Um I actually did I don't know if Sandra's still here, but I did Twitter space with Sandra and Sheila the other day talking about artists. And I think okay, this is like real questions. I really hope that you guys will actually like write the comment. Like just say yes or no. When if you actually take art courses back then in school, have your teachers or professors actually taught you how to market yourself? This is a question that I want to ask. Like just write yes or no. There's no right or wrong answer to this. No. No. Keep going. Keep going. No. Wow. So this is the reason I said that is that I find that artists are not really good at promoting themselves. And I don't know if it's because of the confidence level or because they are not too sure how to market themselves. Um, because sometimes I feel like artists are not really proud of speaking their artworks or plugging their artworks to the public. And they have to somehow rely on other people to plug it for you. So if the answers here, I have like five answers saying like four answers here saying no, then I kind of know what's going on just because this is the skills that I think you guys want to work on. Because even if you are looking for an agency, you have to sell yourself to the agency because that's how you will get commission works and also like think about how to get invites to events to sell yourself. And I know Instagram is a comfortable place because you can be behind the screen. You can just do your artwork and post it. If this is your hobby, if you don't want to make it as a business, that is completely fine. But if you are thinking about to turn this into a business and then have like from a side income to a full time income, then you have to think about how to package yourself. And that's something that I actually talk a lot in the Patreon group. So, yeah, how to build a good portfolio. And another question is how many of your teachers or professors are telling you that you can make money with arts? Yes, lack of knowledge and lack of confidence is something that I realize that as well. I feel like it's something that um we should talk more about it because I see if you see the successful artists who are in the industry right now, they really know how to sell themselves and promote themselves, or they might have the right connection to the right people. And their websites are professional, their Instagram are pretty like on point. We know exactly what they're doing. And even the interview they're doing, they're sort of like they know exactly who their target audience is. So basically, I think one of the question right now is you need to know who is your target audience, like who is actually your potential customer or potential client. Um, there is no set formula for this just because let's just say Nadia has a different approach because I know Nadia is really good at doing portraits. And by the way, I like this whole new abstract, like that pencil line portrait. Keep doing it. I'm just looking forward to see more. Just telling you that this is something really, really cool. I can't wait to see what you're going to do next. I know that your style is actually evolving. Um, so think about like maybe do more questionnaires on Instagram stories so that you know your audience more, you know your demographics more, and so you know that what to create to attract those people's attention. Um, they said, okay, they said website and business card. That's about it. Not only that, like a website, yes, but also you need to have some really good portfolio pieces in your website. And how do you actually add those? Like, how do you decide what to add in your website? That's another good question. That's another good thing to think about. Do not like one of the tips I'm going to give you is do not put every single piece of artwork into that website. Your client has no time to look at that. You only put the best works or possibly the most memorable, like the most important projects on the website so that people know that, oh, you actually have worked with those clients. Like for sure, when you start out, you don't have that many clients. So sure, you can put all the clients you have. But later on, when you start to work with a bigger client, you can start to edit your client list and drop some of the brands or companies that are less famous. Nobody's talking much about self promotion, making the right connection, how to connect people, and so on. And thank you. I have my eyes on your works, Nadia. Just I just have to tell you that. Um, yes, why I end up in design? They told me fashion illustration is that fashion illustration is that because no one has really done some crazy stuff yet. So that's why your professors or your teacher will be like, "Yeah, I don't see there's a future there." But if there are some illustrators who are going to do crazy stuff with brands, with or do some really crazy exhibitions, then I think your professors and your teachers will probably say, "Okay, I'm wrong. There's actually a good potential there," which is good because we all are in sort of on the same boat right now. We are exploring this. We are figuring out how to make sure that more people uh, know about fashion illustration. And don't forget that fashion illustration is just an umbrella of illustration. So it will be you can continue to do other things like portraits, but not necessarily involve fashion. You can do scenery, but not necessarily involve fashion. So when you go back to fashion, like always just remember clothing is to enhance your illustration. So don't let that sort of like put you in a box. You can think outside of the box a little bit. I know that everyone's like struggling. It's like, oh, how can I make income? There's just so many ways because when your works are good, one of the things I know is private clients will commission you to do works and they will say, "Oh, I love your work so much. Now, can you draw me in this outfit?" That's fashion illustration. And actually, you were doing portraits, but then they want fashion on them. So, this is something that you can think about it. Um, that's the thing with me, as well as many. It's called society. I know anxiety is another thing. And I know also, so another thing that I want to say is, um, don't be afraid to keep trying because I know I have seen a lot of artists if they create something, no response, or if they couldn't sell anything, or if they didn't get any kind of feedback, they feel like they fail. That's not the case because we rely on social media so much. Sometimes you basically basically social media is consuming you because you can figure out what is happening in your world. So what I will recommend is you keep drawing and then keep like you basically have to compete with your own self. You will just say, okay, am I doing better than the last one? And then you just throw it up. You post it on Instagram just to give sort of like let's put it this way, your Instagram can be a time capsule. Just basically telling you, oh, at this phase, I'm doing this kind of style, and I start to really like it, and I start to see how my style evolve. And eventually, if you start not caring what other people think, or you caring like how many likes you're getting, especially I'm telling you, Instagram has a really weird algorithm. If you rely on the likes, you rely on the comments, you're going to be very disappointed and you will probably say, I will never want to draw again. But if you start to like do what you love and then you actually have clients that actually want to work with you, you are already on the road to become a successful illustrator. um Instagram is good, it's for more people to see your work, but absolutely don't rely 100% on it because that cannot give you exactly what you need in the end. A lot of times that doesn't translate into money. For example, I will tell you that there are times that I create stories and I would give you polls or answer like Q&A. I would expect a lot of you guys to participate, but for some reasons it didn't work out that way. I don't know it's because the algorithm like not working or the Instagram's like, oh, I don't want to push your story to more followers because I can tell you that most of the times, even though I have like this is I'm gonna be transparent with you. Like even though I have 79K followers, when I look at my insight, I always get over 60% to 7% non-followers liking the post. So this is really weird. Like, why people follow me, but they cannot see my post? We don't really know the answer because I can't figure out. Like, I'm pretty sure Instagram will not tell you like why this is happening. So your followers sometimes are not reliable because they are not able to see your stories or they are not allowed to like participate in some of the stuff. And I know that there's also the shadow ban. So uh, just a lot to digest. But to me, I would just say focus on your craft. Make sure that you have your right clients. And instead of scrolling on social media all the time, think about if you can go to events and mingle with people, and that's the time that you can actually have your business card ready, or if you have like some photos, some illustrations on your phones and show to people when you talk. How important is it to have a website? Website is important when you, how do I say this? I always say website is important, but if you don't have the time to do it, focus on your Instagram, build a really nice grid. As a client, if I have to like hire illustrators to do stuff, I probably won't look at more than 15 illustrations on your account. So your first 15 is probably the most important. So always make sure that the new work you post is going to be amazing to attract customers and also show that you have a specific style. If you decide that every Instagram post has a different style, illustration style, that can confuse your clients. So try to keep your style to be consistent. But once you have a website, that Instagram can be something else. That Instagram can turn into like a work in progress, can be turned into showing details, showing your work, um, show a little bit more behind the scene. Because if people are interested in your work, they know that there's a website, they can look at your best works. So that's how I would advise you to like build your Instagram and also website. And if you want to know more about, and then I also have a question, which you can actually go back to the YouTube video I did with Olga, and it's she asked a question to Samuel Harrison. So she said, Instagram encouraged you to post all the time. So and Samuel just does the work, take a long time, like take a lot of time to create one artwork. So how should you do that? How should you post? How to create the Instagram feed? He has a really good answer for that. So make sure that you go to the YouTube and search for interview with Olga, and then there is one section. I think it's called a special appearance by dot dot dot. Then there is a 3 minutes clip that talk about what he does for his Instagram. So any other questions? Like I can help you. I feel like the last 10 minutes is probably the most informative thing for this entire session. Like, do you have any questions for me? Because yeah, it's over an hour, but I will say 4 more minutes. Let's stop at 3:10. Yes. I definitely recommend people to have a website because it's easier and because at the same time you can use your website to do the SEO. So when people search your name, it'll be easier to that for them to find your website. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you. Any other things? Wow, the last 10 minutes was just a lot, but I love it. Okay, Nadia, you didn't understand about the Gucci Adidas open call. Tell me your question because the brief is actually from Gucci. So if you go to my go to that open call page, keep scrolling down. There is a resource area. So those are the two links. One is going to the lookbook photos. One is going to the products photos. So you have to use the clothing from those two links. Because what happened is in February, Gucci has the fall and winter 2020 shows. That's the time that they announced the collaboration. But many of those runway outfits did not turn into production. So right now we want to focus on the products that you can buy. So that's why the restriction is you have to look at those two links to look for the outfits that you like. You can mix and match. You can say, I love this top and then I love this dress. I'm gonna like mix and match. You can do that. Does that answer the question? You're welcome, Corinne. I'm glad that you're here. And Anna, you're welcome. Got it. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, I don't want to confuse anyone just because someone actually tried to send me a submission today and I actually rejected right away because of what I just said. No problem, Nadia. Good luck. It's exciting, and I really want to see what you can create. Like, especially with that style, you do have that vintage style as well. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. So if you guys have no questions, then I'm gonna end this. I will put this video in the open call page again. So in case you have any questions, you can rewatch it. I think I cover pretty much everything in this video. So with that being said, I will see you guys later. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate that all the questions that you guys have, and I appreciate your participations. So good luck. I will see you guys later. Bye bye.